Hi, Steph.
Hey, Steve.
Now we go back, like your husband, we go back a ways, but
Yeah.
you're fairly new to St. Andrews, fairly new to Kamloops. What brought you here?
Well, my mom moved here quite a while ago, and so Max and I were used to coming to visit quite frequently. We were living in Alberta for almost 10 years, so after a while, almost 2 years ago now, year and a half ago, when we came to visit, we're like, yeah, we think it's time to come back. Alberta never really felt like home. We felt like we were trying to settle roots there, but they weren't quite taking. So it was time to come back.
Find different soil.
Yeah, exactly. Things do grow much better here. So yeah, through a series of very interesting events, so we made it back here.
Now, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Did you grow up in the church, or did Max drag you out? What's some of your story?
Yeah, so I grew up in the church, always going to church ever since I was a baby. It was just always a given. Every single Sunday we go to church. And then after, once you become a teenager and go into different youth groups, and that led me to youth group that you were pastor of at the Presbyterian Church, and that's where I met Max. And so pretty much, faith has had a pretty big part of my whole life.
And this is something that's continued up to this day. I know some people, they hit a dry spell, right? And
yes, around the time when we got married, Max and I, we were very thankful that you married us. And as we did our premarital counseling, we didn't have a church in Alberta for quite some time, and I found it very interesting when you encouraged us to find a new church home, and I said, oh yeah, we'll get on that. And you said, well, just know that for you to stop going now would be similar to a child stopping going to school in grade 3. So, and that really spoke to me, and I've thought of that often through our lives. We did find another church shortly after that.
And so you continue to grow in your faith, and and you've been challenged, and you've had you've been walking and growing in this relationship. What has God been teaching you recently? Because as we grow up, God continues to form us and shape us. What have you been learning? How have you been being challenged?
So moving always has its different challenges. Like I said, we were trying to have roots. We were I was very involved in the church that we were in, just outside of Calgary, and was helping lead the children's ministries there. And so when we moved here, wanted to make sure that we had a church to go to. And then Max reminded me, Steve has a church in Kamloops now. So we knew where we were going, which was very comfortable and nice. And everyone here was so welcoming. And honestly, I wasn't quite too sure, because I know sometimes Presbyterian churches can be really old-fashioned, but it was really good. Everyone
stodgy?
I wasn't going to say it. But no, everyone was so welcoming and friendly, and so it was really nice. And work was going well, but I ended up finding a lot of different friends that are my age or even a bit younger, and growing up, always being around mostly Christian people or, quite religious people, it was always welcome and easy to talk about faith. And the more I am around non-Christians or people of different faith, I'm realizing there are certain stereotypes and views that people have of Christianity. And it's really opening my eyes and kind of challenging me to really seek out, how does God want us to act? How, we say we follow Jesus. What exactly does that mean? And I've found that a lot of people I have a lot of stories about being judged or condemned by Christians, being told that they're not good enough or they must act a certain way in order to be accepted. And I really feel that's not what Jesus taught us to do. And I make I never pretend to be something that I'm not. I don't pretend to be perfect. I am who I am. And I love to just accept people for who they are. I feel that's what Jesus is he showed us to do.
Yeah, so you've been meeting the non-church crowd here in Kamloops and learning a lot about them, and then reflecting on your faith and how that can be or sometimes hasn't been a welcome to them.
Yeah, and it breaks my heart, because for me, my experience has always been really positive. I always felt accepted in church, well, most of the time.
Yeah.
People are people.
Yeah.
You know, we are not perfect. And this idea that church is a place for saints, it's not. It's a place for sinners. The people that need church most, like that's why I still go. So to hear these stories, and it's really moved me to realize, you know, Jesus teaches us to accept people. He modeled that for us.
Yeah.
And when he was on earth, he accepted everyone.
Yeah.
I think the people he seemed to get most mad at were the religious people of the day. So.
The ones who wanted to sort everyone out first, right?
Exactly.
And before they were welcomed in. Jesus just sort of welcomed everyone and was trusting that the Holy Spirit would work through them, and that they would grow in the relationship with God, right?
Yeah, and I feel that as Christians, we need to go back to that. Jesus modeled what we were supposed to do, and we need to continue that on, and show acceptance and love, and that it really doesn't matter someone's background, their beliefs, their orientation. You accept people for who they are. We are all children of God. He created us, and we need to love and accept each other.
Now, you brought a Bible with you, and we talked about how some verses do speak to you in terms of that vein. Can you share those with us? Yeah,
so a couple of verses that I've come across recently that really spoke to me. Luke chapter 6, verse 37. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. As well as Romans 15, verse 7. Accept one another then, just as Christ accepted you, in order to bring praise to God. So these are things that Jesus taught us. And this is what we need to remember and bring out into the world and show others.
Well, God bless you as you interact with these people that have been hurt by the church, and as you show them Christ's welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, good talking with you.
You too.
Well done.
It was probably better the first time, but.
No, it's great. It's great.